morning, friends. Welcome back to my kitchen. I want to show you if we finally got everything finished for our little mini kitchen remodel, and I am in love with this butcher block countertop. We've been looking, and it was quite expensive in the store, but I found it online for half of the price, and they shipped it to our store for free. So I was excited about that. We also got some bar stools to complete the look, and we actually had breakfast there this morning, and it was delicious. But today we're going to do a few preparations for our youngest son's 25th surprise birthday party today. And I have a few recipes I want to try, and I will show you the cake that I made for his birthday, and we're just gonna make a few little sides. I've already got the hamburgers and I've got hot dogs we're going to grill. We're going to cook some catfish and pasta salad. I've already got the pasta boiled and ready to add. It's just a box pasta, but we're going to make some cookies from our freezer that I don't want to get cleaned out. We're just going to bake those, and we are also going to make a puff pastry appetizer. So let's get going. All right, I wanted to show you a good close-up of the butcher block countertop. I'm so in love with this. It almost tripled our bar space. And we got these cute bar stools to go underneath and have a nice place to eat. Anyways, this is like my pride and joy. I'm so glad we did this. All right, this is simple. We've got some cookie dough that we made and froze earlier in the year, and I'm trying to get all that used up because we need to make some new. I knew we didn't have a whole lot, but we have 3 different kinds of cookies here, and we're just going to bake these up and take them to the party. I know the kids will love the cookies. My son is a cookie fan too, even at 25. It's one of his favorite treats. But we're just gonna, I did these usually in about a 6-pack because that's about all Wayne and myself need at one time. That way we can always have fresh baked cookies. So we'll probably do about 18 cookies. And we will get these in a preheated oven of 350 once that comes up to temperature. Do have a few Girl Scout cookies here we're going to put on here also, because we just have so much cookie dough we need to be working on using, and we haven't been, which is good for us. We have been trying to watch our sweets, but I'm going to do some of those as well, and we will finish baking the ones that were out of the freezer once our temperature gets up to the correct temperature. All right, friends, I don't know what is going on with my mic. It works about half the time and the other half it doesn't, so we're going to just voice over this. We're just mixing up a boxed Betty Crocker pasta salad mix. It's the bacon ranch. We're going to put our pasta in the bowl. I had cooked this earlier and rinsed it with cold water, and we're just going to put that in the bowl. I did a double batch of this since we are having a family event, and we're just going to put the little packets of the ranch bacon seasoning in there and add some mayo and mix all that up. I will stop on my way to the party and get another container of mayonnaise to take with us because I might need to add some mayonnaise before it's served. Pasta has a way of sucking up the mayonnaise in these salads, and I want a nice creamy mixture. I didn't realize that I didn't have a new jar of mayonnaise, and we need one here anyway, so I'll probably pick up a couple of jars on my way to the party just so we can spruce that up before we serve it. We're just going to mix all that together and add more mayonnaise as needed and get it in the fridge to chill before the party. Simple, simple. We love this pasta salad. I like to make homemade pasta salad also, but for time's sake this morning, I decided to just make a box mix. I have a lot to do today to get, I'm going to go over at my daughter's house early. We're having the party at her house, and I wanted to have some things already prepared so we could just get set up for that. So we're just going to mix that up and get that covered and in our refrigerator and let that chill. All right, I've got a quart of lard melting here. We're going to get to cooking our catfish. This is some home rendered lard. That's what we like to cook our fish in. It gives it such good flavor. And I'm going to get the mix. Our oven's up to temperature. I literally just put a pan of cookies in. We've got one more waiting. But I'm going to get our mix ready to put on our fish. And we will get to cooking that. I'm going to get a little cornmeal here. Put in our bowl. We're not cooking a whole lot, but I want to have plenty of our mix. We're going to start out with that. And we're going to get this all seasoned up for our catfish. I like to start out with salt because you have to have your catfish salty enough or it just doesn't taste right. So I always start out with a good little dose of salt, and I'm just using some sea salt here. We're going to use some of our homemade seasoned salt because it has a lot of our herbs and spices that we want in this. We're going to add some onion powder. Or garlic powder. I mean, I said onion, but I meant garlic. And some onion powder. I'm going to turn this oil down a little bit because I haven't even got the fish cut up yet. It'll take but a minute, but we're going to mix all that together. Just with our hand, make sure there's no clumps, all that good stuff. Now we're going to cut up our fish. How I'm going to do it today so that everyone gets, some, because there's going to be quite a few people from my understanding there. And so everybody can get some, I'm going to cut these fillets like this so that we'll have more pieces. And that's got some bone in it. I'm going to cut that off. So I want fillets. And we're just going to put that in our flour. We're just going to keep cutting this fish up until we get it all ready for the fryer. I believe our grease might be hot enough so we can start some. Let me get another piece cut up here. I'm taking these bones out because I want it to be fillets because we have grandkids that's going to be there, and I don't want them getting a bone, and getting choked on it. So anyways, we're just going to see if that's enough for a batch. Turn our grease back up here a little bit because when you're cooking fish, you want your grease to be really hot. Oh yeah. We're going to get our first batch in here, and we'll give it a taste test and see if we need to adjust the seasoning any. I like cooking my fish in a Dutch oven. I feel like it just cooks it all the way around at one time, so you're not having to flip it and stuff. But there's our first batch, and I'm going to keep cutting up fish. With our first batch of cookies out of the oven, I decided to go ahead and start getting those off of the tray because I'm going to need that pan to make our appetizer. And we need to get them on there as we can anyways. I started out with a plate, but I quickly decide to go grab something bigger because we have quite a few cookies here. A lot more than I anticipated. But anyways, we're just going to get their cookies off and we're going to work on making our tray nice and pretty with our using our cookies as the decoration. I do get, like I said, a bigger tray here and we're going to put those on there because I was quickly running out of space with just this first pan of cookies, and we have a whole nother pan to go with here. So we're just going to get those layered around there so that we have a pretty tray of cookies to take to the party. We'll get that pizza pan washed up because we will need that for our appetizer. Back to the fish. Our first batch is done. I ended up getting a bigger pan because I have a lid for this pan so we can put it in the oven at my daughter's house whenever I get there to warm it back up. But I just put a few napkins in the bottom to catch the grease, and we're just going to load that Dutch oven again with some more fish. And we're just going to keep repeating that till we get all of that fish cooked. The fish is good. I tasted a piece after it cooled enough for me to taste, and it was perfect. So anyways, we're just going to keep cooking this fish till we get all these little fish nuggets cooked. We got our fish finished and it looks beautiful. Now we're going to get on to our puff pastry. This, I just seen the recipe on Facebook. I'm always scouring Facebook for recipes, and I decided to do my own little twist on this. But I have one sheet of puff pastry here, and I'm just going to roll that as thinly as I possibly can. I want it to be just a thin layer around our little dessert here, or not dessert, our little appetizer we're making. But we're just going to keep rolling it out till we get it to the thickness that we want, and then we will go to the next step. I do kind of take it off of there and flip it over because it was starting to stick, and I did not want that, and it had a little more flour on that side that I was working on. I didn't want to add any additional flour though because I didn't want to mess up the integrity of the pastry. Now we're going to add a little bit of ranch to this. And we're going to spread that in a thin layer around this whole sheet of puff pastry. Just a thin layer. We don't want it saturated with ranch, but we do just want a hint of ranch on it all over the entire thing. That is perfect. Now we're going to put some ham we had in the fridge that needed to be used up. I had 2 or 3 slices left here, and anyways, I'm going to roll that up and grab a cutting board, and we're going to cut that really small into small little chunks to put in this pastry. Just as thin and tiny as we can get it, so we can just get a little bit of hint of ham on every bite. I do, once I get it all cut one direction, turn and put a few cuts the next direction just to kind of get that in teeny tiny little pieces. Now we're just going to sprinkle that over the top of the ranch. Kind of try to get a little bit where you have a tiny bite in every piece. And next, we're going to take a bag of shredded cheese. You can use any kind. I just had some Colby Jack, so that's what we use today. And we're just going to spread that cheese on the entire surface of this pastry. Now the fun part. I quickly realized that I need to flip this around because I'm on the short side of the pastry and I need to be on the long side. So I turn it around and we're going to roll this pastry as tightly as we can all the way up. Kind of like you would roll a cinnamon roll. And we're just going to keep rolling it till we get it all the way rolled up. Then we're going to connect the ends to make a circle. Now we're going to transfer this to our pan. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself before we get it transferred. So I want to get my pan sprayed and the ring of pastry placed on our baking pan. Gonna get that mat out of the way and we will do our next step. We're gonna take a pair of scissors and we're gonna clip little sections all the way around. And then I kind of separate each section going in the opposite direction each way, just to kind of separate it where it'll be easier, hopefully, to pull apart, or we'll probably just take a pizza cutter and cut it. Either way. Now we're going to make an egg wash for the top of that, and we're just going to take one egg and beat that up really well. And then we're going to take our pastry brush here and brush that egg mixture on the top. We're going to bake this in the oven at 350 until we feel like it's done. Then what I did was turn my broiler on because it wasn't quite as toasted on the top as I wanted. And I really watched it close. Once you turn your broiler on, you have to watch it close or you will burn it up. But I stood there with it until I got it to the golden consistency I wanted. Now we're going to get the rest of those cookies onto our tray. They were cool enough to move. And we're going to get that tray finished up for the party today. I'm so glad that I had a cookie dough prepared in the freezer and I didn't have to start from scratch making cookies, messing up the kitchen, and it just would have took so much more time. That's why I like to have things like this in my freezer and in my pantry to make this job quick and easy. And there we have it. Our cookie tray is done. Look at that, friends. Isn't that beautiful? Our homemade cookies ready to go to the party. We'll get that covered up and it'll go out to the car soon. Now we're going to focus on making a dip for our appetizer. First, we're going to get a small container because we're not going to make a whole lot of this dip, just a hint of it. And we're going to get all of our ingredients together and we are going to mix up a simple little dip for our ham cheese appetizer. I've got some mayonnaise, some Dijon mustard, some soy sauce, and a little bit of seasonings that we are going to mix together for the dip. I don't have enough mayonnaise, I'll just tell you up front, but I put what I have in this container, and we're going to stop on the way and get some more to finish it off. But I put everything that I need besides all the mayonnaise into our little dish here. And we're going to add some mustard, some Dijon mustard, a nice little squirt of that. A splash of soy sauce, some dehydrated chives, and some garlic and onion powder. And we're going to mix all that together. And like I said, when we get to the party, we are going to add a little more mayonnaise to this because it was a little too zingy. All right, look at that beautiful puff pastry. It puffed up. I did turn the broiler on to kind of toast the top a little more than it was, but that looks delicious. We're gonna set that here and I'm gonna show you our spread. Here's the cake that I made for the party. It has a cheesecake center in the bottom layer and it turned out beautiful. All right, here is our yummy puff pastry with the ham and cheese and ranch inside. Here is our beautiful cookies that we had in our freezer that we made up, pulled out, and baked for today's event. And here's our fish. And that sauce we made, I am going to add a little mayonnaise to it because it's a little too zingy, but once I get a little more mayonnaise in it, it'll be perfect. Anyways, thank you for stopping back by our homestead. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, friends, goodbye.